Her sport, her life.
This is Her Why.
Here's your host, Lauren McLean.
We're so glad you've joined us for Her Why, where we celebrate the women who make BYU sports great. Joining us now are BYU women's soccer players Camryn Jorgensen and Izzi Stratton, two defenders who recently returned from their missions for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and are back competing for the Cougars. Guys, thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you so much for having us.
So good to be here.
Let's start off with your missions and why you both chose to serve missions. You both had big soccer opportunities here at BYU, but you chose to put everything on pause to serve missions for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So, Izzi, you went to New Mexico. Camryn, you served in Iowa. What went into that decision? Let's start with Izzi.
Man, I feel like for me, I always wanted to serve. And like you said, like playing soccer here is such an incredible opportunity to share the gospel. So there was a time where I was like, maybe I'll just stay and play soccer, and that will kind of be my mission. And literally since I was young, I just like always wanted to serve a mission. I always like dreamed of being a missionary. So then when the time came to actually make that decision, I was super grateful for Jen and the coaching staff, because it was literally a dream for me. I always wanted to serve, and then knowing that the opportunity to play when I would come home as well, like I just feel so grateful for that opportunity, because it was always a dream of mine to serve.
And you went right after your sophomore season.
Yes.
What made the timing right?
Oh, the timing was everything. I was thinking about leaving after my freshman year, but that 2023 season was pretty special, and with all of those seniors, I look up to all of them. They're like mentors for me in my life, and I wanted to play that sophomore season, so I stayed for an extra year, and then I ended up putting in my papers a little early and trying. I was like, if I go December like 18th, then I'll be able to get home and play. I'll only miss one season, and so my availability date was the 17th, and I got called for the 18th.
Wow.
So it was definitely the Lord's fingerprints were all over the timing of it.
All right, Camryn, what about for you?
I am not like Izzy. I did not want to go on a mission, like, at all growing up. When I was really young, I thought it was like kind of cool to be a neat opportunity, but after I got into high school and was getting recruited by BYU, I was like, no, because I want this to be my future. I want to play soccer. I know that if I left, then it could be detrimental to my future with soccer. But then after my senior year, after I graduated that summer, this is like the most random story ever, but I was working a job where I would just like listen to music the whole time, because I would just do like little things with my hands. And then I felt this prompting to listen to my scriptures. And I was like, okay, fine, like I'll do it. And so I started over. I started from the beginning of the Book of Mormon, and within like the first 5 minutes of listening to it, it was like the clearest voice in my head. Camryn, you need to go on a mission, and you need to participate in gathering Israel. And I was like, oh my gosh. And like immediately my heart was just pounding. I was like, okay, I know this is like, this is the Spirit. I know this is God talking to me. And I tried to like push it away, but I feel like everything after that just was pointing me to leaving. And I opened my papers, and I knew that it was right, and it felt great, and I was really excited.
That's
awesome.
an incredible story. I love that. And you two left about the same time. Mm-hmm. Before you guys left, did you talk about it? Like talk about serving missions and what that would look like together?
Yeah. I did. Izzy was always like so awesome. She would always come up to me and be like, oh, like, we're going to be, like, companions or, like, far apart from each other. And we're just, like, she really was, like, my hype woman, because, you know, serving a mission is hard, especially, like, leading up to it. You're really scared and, like, you're leaving so much behind. But Izzy always was, like, we're in this together, and we're going to do everything together. And when I'm working out on my own and you're working out on your own, we can just be thinking about each other and know that we're doing it together. And that was really special.
Yeah, it was like the second like we both knew we were serving, it's just been like the whole journey of coming home and like serving. We've just done it together, and it's like I attribute so much of my success coming home to Bachi as well. Like I don't think either of us would be where we are right now, because it is so hard. And it's like I was in the middle of New Mexico with like sometimes companions who didn't really want to work out with me, and I'm like, man, it's 6:30. I don't want to work out. I'm like, Bachi is. Bachi's working out right now. And so I will. And so, like, it made it so, like, you didn't miss a day working out on your own in the middle of New Mexico, just knowing that Bachi was doing the same thing in Iowa.
Kind of almost like a little bit of a competition. You're like, all right, if she's staying in shape, I got to do this too. Were you actually getting up early and working out too?
Yes. Every single morning during the summer, I would go on runs, like, try to run as much as I could, but then like when it got cold, I would sit in my house, my apartment, and just do like HIIT workouts, like do as many push-ups as I could, like burpees, like. And one time, Izzy, at the very beginning of our missions, Izzy sent me this like workout routine, and I opened it, and it was like however many burpees, and I was like, I am not doing that, and I never did the workout, but I said thank you.
You're so nice. Thanks so much for this.
I'm not using this.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
By the way, for those listening, Bachi is Cameron's nickname that she was given.
Yes.
No, I love it. It's great. Because I'm assuming you're going to continue saying that throughout the interview. So I didn't know that before we began, but Bachi is her nickname, and there's a story behind that. Maybe you can tell that a little bit later.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
Sell it.
sorry. Okay. On my first club team, our soccer coach wanted us all to like get better at soccer because we all were 7 years old, didn't really know how to play. And so we had this list of different like skills that we could pass off with him, and he said that once we passed them off, he would give us a nickname, and mine was Hibachi because he saw a fire in me. So great. And then it just stuck.
And then it just got shortened to Bachi.
Shortened to Bachi.
Here we are.
Does Coach Rockwood call you Bachi too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gosh, that's so great.
It's so great.
That it's lasted that long. All right, let's go back to your missions. Izzy, what was going through your mind when you first opened your mission call?
Well, first
to New Mexico.
To New Mexico. When I read New Mexico, it changed a little. Like when I opened my call and read Dear Sister Stratton, like immediately I was just like hit with the spirit. Immediately it was just like, this is a dream come true. I am called to serve my Savior, my God that I love. And I was just like so ecstatic. Like that whole day, like I couldn't focus on anything. I was like, I'm going on a mission. Like, and I couldn't be more excited. And then I read New Mexico and I was like, what? It's like and then like, it was actually really funny. Honestly, like, if we're being real here, I was like, of all the places in the world to go, New Mexico and like Utah was a part of my mission. Like my first area was in Blanding, Utah.
Really?
3 hours away from my house. And I was like, wow, that's super, super close. And it took me a minute to accept that because it was kind of a disappointment, I won't lie. But obviously, hindsight's 20/20. Looking back, I was like, I love New Mexico with literally like my whole heart, and so it's like it was perfect for me.
Definitely not what you expect, right?
Not at all.
All right, Camryn, you opened your mission call to Iowa. What was it like for you when you did that?
Okay, mine was actually really similar to Izzy. Not the latter half as much, but like as soon as I got the text message, your mission call can now be viewed, whatever, I opened it immediately. And I was in class and in this giant auditorium, and I'm like pointing to the girls next to me. I'm like, guys, I just got my mission call and I'm gonna open it. And they're like, okay, like you're crazy. And I'm like, yeah. And then I opened it, and it was like the same surreal feeling when I see Sister Jorgensen. I was like, this is like legit. This is so crazy. This is so awesome. And I like kind of skimmed through the beginning, and I like scrolled down really fast to see where it was. And it said Iowa City, and I was like, wait.
Okay. Wait.
I was like, what even, like, Iowa? I don't know anything about Iowa. And I kind of was like let down because, there's always like, it's super exciting to go out of the country, learn a new language, whatever. And I was like, well, like, it's okay. Like, maybe I'll be speaking like some crazy language and I go down English. I was like, okay, it's fine. I wonder what my family's going to think, but whatever. And then I immediately just looked up like cool things in Iowa, and I was like, oh, there's a lot of pigs there and there's a lot of corn there. And I'm like, this is so awesome. Like, what are we doing here? Yeah, but it ended up being great. So, yeah.
So you mentioned that you didn't know much about Iowa, and then you get there, So you probably didn't have a lot of expectations, right? Or maybe you did because you're like, there's pigs and there's corn. And how did reality compare to what your expectations were when you got there?
Okay, well, when I got there, it was winter time. And so, like, there's not going to be corn, but there were just, like, dead fields of corn. It was really gray, really flat. And my first area was actually in Illinois. And so beyond what you can imagine, they're actually very different, Illinois and Iowa. And so I guess actually, let me rewind. On the drive from the mission home to Illinois, there were like banks of snow on the highway that were like 4 feet tall, and cars just like toppled over.
Oh my gosh.
All over. And I'm like, I cannot believe
what have
that.
I done?
Like seriously, I was like, what am I doing with my life? I was so scared. And my companions, I was in a trio. My companions were like, oh, this is so awesome. Like, you're going to love it. And I just love the cold weather. It's so great. And like, I'm like, what? You guys are crazy. So it was fine.
It was what it was.
It was what it was.
Did you run into any like Iowa State fans and they find out that you're a soccer player from BYU? Oh. Did you get any of that?
A lot of people are huge fans of Caitlin Clark, like huge basketball fans. And I actually wasn't like, I didn't tell a lot of people that I played soccer because I didn't want that to be like, oh, like she's this crazy soccer player. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want that to be like who I was. I wanted to be Camryn. Like this is not my one chance, but a chance in my life to be someone different, you know what I mean? To just be me and not have soccer be what defined me. And so, yeah, I guess no.
So not a lot of people knew.
Yeah.
And that's probably interesting now, like as you're playing and they're finding out, they're like, what? I knew her. No, she was a big-time soccer player. Yeah. Izzi, what about for you? How many people knew that you were a BYU soccer player when you were out on your mission?
Similar to Camryn, I kind of tried to keep it a little bit on the down low just because I wanted that message of Christ to be the main focus. But people found out pretty quickly. And people in New Mexico made me feel so amazing about myself. I was like, guys, I'm not that special. Like, I just play soccer. Like, it's not that big a deal. And they made it seem like the coolest thing ever. And they're like my biggest fan club is in New Mexico now, and it's special to me.
Did you ever use soccer as a missionary tool?
Yes, for sure. We'd have soccer events, basketball too. We'd go play basketball, play soccer, and I don't know. I just think it's super cool being an athlete at BYU to spread the gospel. And then it's just what I love about sports is they're just a big connector. Like they connect you to people in ways that other things don't. And it's super awesome.
Camryn, what would you say is the biggest takeaway from your mission and something that you'll never forget?
Oh, that is such a good question. I feel like my testimony of Jesus Christ always being there, doing everything for me, was insurmountably strengthened. Like I can't even explain like how many times I felt like I was so little and I couldn't do things, I couldn't push through, but somehow something within me was empowered and strengthened to go forward, and I know that was because of Jesus Christ and because God was there with me. I feel like I've never struggled so hard mentally in my life than when I was on my mission, because it was really hard for me to figure out who I was, especially spiritually. Mm-hmm. I've never had to devote so much time to strengthening my own testimony and helping other people strengthen theirs. And so trying to find my identity was a crisis for me. It was really hard. But because it was so hard, I think that's what made it so much stronger and what made it that much more special. And now I feel like I know who I am, and I'm secure in that, and I'm the happiest I've ever been because of it.
That's really cool. I feel like that's one of the hardest parts of life to understand, is that we gain the most from the trials and the hardest things that we go through.
Yeah.
As much as we don't want it to be like that, that's how it is, right?
Yeah.
Izzy, what about for you? What would you say is one of your biggest takeaways from your time as a missionary?
I feel like, just loaded question. You can go anywhere with that. I think for me, just like how beautiful people are. I think like I would go on a mission, there'd be like, we'd knock on doors and they just open the door and I'd just be like filled with like this love that could only come from God for this stranger in front of me. And then you'd share a scripture and it would just be like, just like the amount of love that God has for me. I feel like I learned that because I was able to feel that for people around me, sharing that message that really unites the whole world of we're children of God. Like, you're my brother, you're my sister. And that was just like so apparent to me, my whole mission for me personally, and then for everyone around me as well.
You learn we're all children of God, no matter your background, what you look like, where you come from. I love that. All right, you guys, I'm sure you missed soccer when you were on your mission since it's been such a big part of your lives and you have to put that aside. You finally get to come home. You guys get home around April, and at least for Camryn, it was 4 days later. You guys hop on a plane to New Zealand, right? And how long had you been home?
10 days.
10 days. What was that like? You barely get home, and the soccer team's like, what's up? Let's go. You guys head off to New Zealand. Let's start with Camryn.
Oh my, I don't even know like what was going through my head. I just remember showing up to the airport and it was like, hey guys, I'm back. And like part of me feeling like a complete stranger to them, but also feeling like I never left at all. And it was so weird. It was like just showing up for a soccer game. You know what I mean? Like a soccer trip. And so that was really weird. But it was also really nice to feel so accepted right off the bat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like Izzy probably felt the same way. It was just like, I feel like we were let like right in back to where we were. It wasn't like we had to kind of like weave our way through and try to forge relationships again. It was like the people we were close to when we left were still there. And there were just a lot more new people that we had to meet too, but they were all so sweet, and I think we had a lot of fun. It was crazy. It was kind of like scary leaving so fast, but it was all good.
Well, and you mentioned that you weren't playing soccer, which was probably good, right? Like it wasn't a soccer trip. You were just going to do some service.
Huge relief.
Which is what you'd been doing for 18 months. Izzy, what was it like for you?
It was like the perfect, like, I think it was definitely divinely inspired that we had the chance to go to New Zealand with the team, because like Cam was saying, it was pretty much like a whole new team, like a whole new roster. There were girls that I didn't even know were on the team coming back, and it was like, whoa. And immediately just being able to become friends with them. And then I always explain it to people, it was soccer without soccer and the mission without being a missionary. Because we were doing missionary stuff, like we went to a zone conference with all the missionaries in New Zealand. Wow. And it was just like, it was like a perfect transition back for both of us, I think.
Then the real work starts, right?
Yeah.
You guys have to get into soccer shape in just a handful of months, and that's hard to do. So coming back, what was going through your mind those first few weeks of training? What was that like for you?
Very hard. I think immediately coming back, like I remember like I'll probably never forget the first training back. I don't think I stopped smiling for the whole day, because it was like, I felt like a little kid on Christmas. It was just like, it was so fun. We were just like doing like a little small-sided game, and I just felt like I was on cloud nine. It was just like,
like I'm back.
It was like, I've been thinking about this my whole mission, and now I'm here, and I had this fear that I was like never going to be able to like run again or play again. And I was like, I can still do it. Like there's hope. And it was just like, I felt like I was supported by God. And then it was just like, that one moment was the best ever. And then, I mean, obviously it was very hard. Like Camryn was talking about how mentally her mission was where she struggled the most. Coming home from my mission is where I've probably struggled the most. But I feel like even in the midst of that, God will continue to help me. And I mean, I don't feel like I'm 100% where I want to be, but that's the point. It's a process, and just keep going.
So you're telling me those burpees didn't quite keep
translate
you in the shape that you needed to be. Camryn, you've said nutrition was a big struggle on your mission. How did working with the BYU's nutritionist help you feel like yourself again when you came home?
That's such a good question. Well, on my mission, I was like, I don't want to overeat. I don't want to undereat. I don't want to get fat. You know what I mean? Like, it's a normal thing. You're in Iowa. People make crock pot meals for dinner for you. You know what I mean? And so when I got home, I was like, I really need to figure out how I'm supposed to be fueling myself. I haven't lifted like this in a year and a half, everything. And so I met with Rachel, and she was like, okay, you need to be eating this much protein. You need to eat within this much time of being awake. You need to eat this many meals a day. And like immediately I was like, okay, I feel a huge difference, and I feel so energized. And I feel like my relationship with food has just, like, it's been a process, but it's definitely a lot better now than it was when I was on my mission.
And I'm sure it makes such a huge difference in your energy and your performance and what you're able to do even in workouts. Izzi, when you got back, BYU had just lost its entire back line to graduation and to the pros. What was it like immediately stepping in and filling those shoes?
I think it was good. I think it's definitely come with its challenges, but I think being on the mission, I learned so much about how to lead on my mission that coming home, I feel like those skills have really translated. And there's a phrase that's kind of been like a mantra for me this season of servant leadership. And I feel like that's how the Savior was, and that's how I want to be for my teammates on the field, especially off the field, of just, I love to compete. I love to win. I feel like you don't really get here if you don't. And translating that from a mission to soccer, actually, like, it overlapped a lot, and I feel like it's really helped me.
It's interesting that you can, like, things that are so different, right? Your mission and soccer, but then there's things that overlap.
Yeah.
Which is so cool. Camryn, when do you feel like there was the moment this season where you're like, okay, yeah, I'm back. Like, I got this. Have you felt that yet?
I feel like there are moments when I feel like, okay, like, yeah, like I'm getting there, I'm getting somewhere. But I feel like, kind of like what Izzi was saying earlier, like, I feel like there's still some big steps that I have to take to get to feeling like Bachi again, you know?
Yeah. So you have moments, but you feel like you're not quite there consistently yet.
Yeah.
You both grew up dreaming of playing for BYU. Camryn in Highland, right? You grew up in Highland, Izzi in Alpine. Camryn, how did your dream become a reality? What was your recruiting process like?
I feel like it happened fast. Like, Jen reached out to me pretty quickly my junior year. I had some other schools I was talking to that were like really heavily pursuing me. And so it was like really nice to feel like, oh, like I'm kind of desirable. You know what I mean? But then I feel like things with BYU kind of got quiet, honestly. So I wasn't really sure where they were at, and I was getting pressure from these other schools. And then Jen offered me, it felt like out of nowhere, honestly. And so I was like, whoa, what the heck? And so it took me some time to like work things out with the other schools. I was really sad to say goodbye to some of them because I had developed really strong relationships with them. But I had always wanted to go to BYU because I was raised on it. We've always been BYU fans. And so then I committed, and I also prayed about it a lot. And I had this, it was kind of similar to when I had the prompting to go on a mission. I just had this like overwhelming feeling of peace, knowing that BYU was exactly where I was supposed to be, and it was in God's plan for me. And so I knew that it was right.
Izzi, what about for you? What was your journey to BYU like?
Honestly, very similar. It was pretty much the same as Bachi's. I feel like I need to find it in my journal. Probably when I was like 10, I wrote in my journal, like, it's my dream to play for BYU one day. And then similar to Bachi, the offer kind of came out of the blue as well a little bit later in that recruiting process for me. And then also similar to Bachi, I just felt a lot of peace. I was also kind of debating between a lot of different options. I had a bunch of offers elsewhere, and I was like, I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing, and I wanted to make sure I was doing what God wanted me to do and my family wanted me to do, what I wanted to do, just all those things. And I just remember one night I was with my dad, and I got a blessing, and it was just like, whatever you do, like, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, you can like do what's right. Like, there's good people everywhere. You make a decision, and I'll be with you with it. And it was like, well, I've always wanted to go to BYU, and it really has been a dream come true in so many different ways.
Maybe that's Jen's style, just to keep you sweating a little bit, and then last second just drop it on you. Speaking of her, let's talk about her. She's been here for 30 years. She's built this incredible culture. Izzy, what's something about Jennifer Rockwood that makes players want to compete for her?
I think I was actually thinking about this the other day. I have a lot of respect for Jen and the program that she's built. I think she does a really good job of empowering us as women as well, that we have a role and a purpose. And I love that she's always reminding us that there are people looking up to us, and that there's little girls who dream of being where we are, and we have not only the role but the responsibility to do something with that. And I really respect and admire that about her, that she helps us see that perspective.
Camryn, is that kind of surreal to think about? As you're like, maybe it felt like yesterday you were one of those little girls that was looking up to those that were playing. Is it a little surreal to think, I'm here and they're looking up to me?
Yes. I think about that a lot. After our games, we have the ball girls. They come and they like line up, and we're able to sign all their things. And thinking about when I was their age, the BYU women's soccer team was like the coolest people ever. And I'll be like standing there, and I'm like, I am not this cool. I am not that awesome compared to like what I thought of them. You know what I mean? So it's like, I just feel like there's no way that they think that we're as awesome as I thought that they were. You know what I mean?
Yes. And they do. But they do.
Like, so crazy. Like, I just can't wrap my mind around that.
Which makes you think, that those players when you were little that were playing probably felt the exact same way as you're playing. Like, I'm actually not this cool. I don't know why this is happening.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, Camryn and Izzy talk about how their faith shapes the way they play, what it's like stepping back onto South Field, and some of the fun stuff, teammates, music, and even poetry. This is Her Why. Want to know what drives BYU's greatest athletes? Deep Blue takes you beyond the stats and into the stories. Host Jason Shepard sits down with Cougar legends and rising stars to uncover what makes them tick. New episodes every Tuesday. Subscribe to Deep Blue wherever you get your podcasts. Welcome back to Her Why. I'm Lauren McLean, here with BYU soccer players Camryn Jorgensen and Izzi Stratton. Both of you have been in the starting lineup for every match you played in so far this season. Izzy, how do you feel like you were able to gain the trust of the coaches to put you back in the starting lineup immediately?
I think because of the 2 years I played before, I immediately came back and that trust was already there. It's definitely been something that I've worked on as well as the season's progressed as well, but I think that preparation from those years prior really kickstarted me coming home.
Camryn, what about for you? What kind of hard work went into getting and winning that spot?
I feel like it's partially kind of similar to Izzy. Before I left on my mission, I talked to the coaches and I was like, I can either leave before the 2023 season, like in August when I turned 19, or at the end of it, and they're like, we really want you to get some experience playing with the team at this high level. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that was a huge contributor to now. And I think just over the summer, over my mission, it was like a dream of mine to be able to come back and start on the soccer team after being on a mission. And I think that was a huge drive for me. And somehow, it's like the same thing. I don't know how it was possible, but God was definitely in every single detail, strengthening me and helping me to move forward, helping me to not give up when things got hard. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I feel like it's just a miracle, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
Do you guys feel like you play soccer differently now, maybe a little bit since after your missions, a little more gratitude, a little more perspective? Do you feel like that, Camryn?
Yeah, definitely.
What about you, Izzy?
100%. I feel like before the mission, it was just like I was just so happy to be there, so happy to learn, so happy to grow. And then stepping away from that, I feel like made it so much more like meaningful coming back to it. And I told people a lot coming home that I felt like I was running with angel legs, because I know without like a shadow of a doubt, like God has helped strengthen me physically and mentally coming home. Like I feel like I have a responsibility to glorify God in the way I play soccer, because I mean, there's been so many missionaries that on the soccer team that have left, but not a lot of them have been able to come back and to start. And to have both of us being able to do that this season, I feel like is so special. And I think the two of us together, like, because we have each other, has made that possible. And just the Lord carrying both of us in ways that you honestly didn't really expect, like coming home to start, has been just literally nothing short of a miracle.
That's incredible. And you guys get to play on one of the best fields in the country in front of some of the best fans. Camryn, what was it like stepping back into that environment for the first time after being away?
Honestly, I was very nervous. I was very scared. I was like, I am not ready for this. It was terrifying, but at the same time, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, you're just filled with so much gratitude because you have so many people there, and there's just something really, really special about playing at BYU and feeling so close to God and representing Jesus Christ through it all, that you just know that they're there while you're playing. Every time we step out onto the field, Izzy always asks me what I'm grateful for. She asks us all what we're grateful for, and I feel every time I say it, I'm grateful for God, because without him, none of this would be possible.
Izzy, is that something you feel like almost as a leader now? Like, I want everyone to have a better perspective on what we're doing here. Is that why you asked that question?
I think, well, that's what the upperclassmen did for me, and I want to carry on their legacy, and I feel like I feel so much gratitude for the shoulders of the people that I stand on, and I know that there's so many people who've put in the work for me to be where I am today, and I don't want to pass up that opportunity. If I see that and I know that there's so many leaders on the team that are freshmen right now, and I want them to know that they have such a important role as well in spreading the gospel, spreading the love of the game, of the love of God through something like a sport, which is something that it's kind of hard to see sometimes.
Mm-hmm. That's really powerful. Let's get to some fun stuff. Camryn, your bio says you love playing the piano and writing poetry. You were a little surprised when I said that in the break, though. So tell me about that. Do your teammates know that side of you?
I think some of them do. But, like, piano, yes, because they always ask me to play the piano when it's needed. So I feel a
Which
little
you probably did on your mission a ton, too, I'm assuming.
Yes. But poetry, I feel like in, like, middle school, I fell in love with writing poems and reading poems, and I always wanted to be able to communicate these beautiful thoughts just like these incredible poets did that I would read in English class, you know what I mean? And so I feel like I wrote my first like emotional poem when I was in like 9th grade, and ever since then it's been such like a perfect release for me. I feel like whenever I get like really sad or emotional, whatever, or even when I'm angry, I open my phone, like my notes app, and I start to write, and I feel like, I don't know, it's just been such a great tool for me. Even on my mission, Izzy really likes poetry too, so you can ask her about it too. But on my mission, I really struggled to write in my journal, but when I was like, okay, I feel like I could write a poem about this, that's when I could write. And then I look back on these poems and I'm like, wow, I know exactly how I was feeling. And I don't know, there's just something really special and raw about it.
That's so unique, too.
Yeah.
That's like straight out of a Jane Austen novel. You're like, I play the piano, I love poetry. Wait, so when did you guys make the connection that you both love poetry? Because that really is unique.
I don't even know. Izzy would she had a Google photo album on her mission, and she would put her poems on there, and I was like, I didn't even know that she wrote poems. And I thought it was really cool that she like shared them with people, because I usually like I share them with like a select few, because sometimes I'm like, this like feels a little kind of dark, this poem that I wrote, and I need someone to like tell me if I'm okay. But I wouldn't really share them with her, but I thought, or with other people, but I thought that it was awesome that she did.
So Izzy, is that something that you've been doing for a long time, writing poetry?
I picked it back up on my mission, actually. I loved it when I was little, and then I stopped writing, and then on my mission, me and Bachi, I don't know if you can tell, we're pretty deep thinkers. And it was just like a way for me to like I feel so deeply and I love so big, and I'm like, I can't just tell this to you, but I felt like if I could write it out, like hopefully people could like feel what I meant in between the lines. And most of my poems were about the Savior. And I remember what I was like sitting looking at my phone, I was like, I don't want to, like, this is so personal. I don't want to share this with people. Like, this is a poem. Like, that's kind of weird. And then I was like, well, might as well. And actually, I had so many people, like, say how much they, like, loved my poetry. And same with, like, it's such, like, a way for me to, like, share my testimony, what I love about life, like, my energy, like, just through writing. And I feel like coming home, we both knew we liked poetry, so we, like, share our poems with each other now because it's just something we both love.
I think that is the coolest thing, you guys. I think that's incredible, and it's so unique. I bet you impacted so many people that way. You're also an outdoorsy girl, right? You love hiking, paddleboarding. What would be your dream adventure trip?
Oh,
I mean, New Zealand had to have been pretty cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. I feel like my dream adventure, like, if I weren't playing soccer, if I had, like, my dream is, like, 6 months, backpack on my back, one-way ticket, and I would just go and I would meet people, and I would hear their stories. Like, just like this, I'd be like, tell me your story. Like, what do you love about life? What do you love about God? And then I'd just, like, blog about it, and I would write about it because I love people and I love traveling. And that's, like, that. I feel like that's so far-fetched, but, like, that's what I would do if I could.
I mean, you could one day. You absolutely could do that.
I want to.
Find yourself a man who's just super outdoorsy. The two of you just go on adventures. That sounds amazing. All right, let's do a few rapid fire questions. Okay, we're going to start with Camryn.
Okay.
Weirdest food you ate on your mission? In Iowa?
I had cow foot.
No. Gross.
Yeah.
Was it horrible? That sounds
Actually,
terrible.
it wasn't that bad.
A cow foot, like a hoof?
Yeah, a hoof. It's like, okay, let me just embrace the culture.
Wow.
And it's great.
Okay, what about for you, Izzy? Weirdest food you ate?
It's probably just like sheep, anything.
Ooh.
Yeah.
No, thank you. All right, favorite team to play against, Camryn?
Play against?
Yeah.
I like look at
Do you
Izzy
have
and,
Do you
like,
have a
Izzy's
favorite
the
Big
answer.
12 team to play against?
Okay, for some reason, I really like to play Oklahoma State. And we played them on Monday, so.
Maybe it's because it's kind of close to Iowa, right? Isn't
Yes.
it?
There you go.
Maybe that's what it is. I guess you could have picked Iowa State.
wish
I don't
we
know.
were playing Iowa State this year. That would be cool.
What about you? Favorite team?
Utah.
Utah. Because of the rivalry, you love it.
Because of the rivalry, and my best friends play for Utah.
Okay.
So I love it.
You love to beat them. Who's most likely to start a TikTok on the road, Camryn? And you're on your team.
Oh, I was like, out of us?
no,
neither
you're
of
like
us.
neither of us. You're like,
Probably
we're writing
Lucy
poetry.
Or Ellie
Okay.
Walbrook.
All right. Who controls the pregame playlist on the team? Izzy.
I don't
I think
know.
there's a few, like
Ellie,
Peyton, Sarah.
Sarah. Yeah.
All right. Are you guys okay with the choices that they make with the music?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm indifferent.
I'm like, sure. Cool.
Okay, my last question for you guys. We'll start with Camryn. When it's all said and done, what kind of legacy do you want to leave here at BYU?
I, number one, want people to know that with God, anything is possible. I feel like that's kind of a cop-out answer, but it's true. And I just want people to know that after they knew me, or if I was friends with them, that I hope that there was a little bit more light in their life knowing me, and that I could just make them happy.
I love that. And I can tell you that that's true from this hour that I've known you. I'm sure that's true. Izzy, what about for you? What legacy would you like to leave?
I think just a legacy of love, I read a quote the other day of I want people to know that I care more about them as a person than I do as an athlete. But because of that love for them as a person, I'll push for them to be the best that they can. As an athlete, I think I want to leave a legacy of no matter what comes your way, with God, you can overcome it. And there's always someone there to help you. And you can advocate for yourself. You can advocate for yourself as a woman, as an athlete, as a student, whatever you want to do. There are so many dreams that just need to be chased, and chase them and see where you end up.
I'm here with BYU soccer players Camryn Jorgensen and Izzi Stratton. BYU women's soccer is in good hands, you guys. You are incredible women. Thank you so much for taking the time today, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you so much, Lauren.
This episode of Her Why was produced by Annie Robinson with senior producer Cleon Wall.